What's up, everybody? Welcome back to The Pulse. Today we're delving into a topic that touches the core of human connection, dating. Autistic people encounter unique challenges, including difficulties in communication and interpreting social cues, which can impact romantic connections. Despite this, we bring strengths like candid communication and intense emotional connections to relationships. Effective communication strategies, understanding, and patience play crucial roles in overcoming these obstacles, while tailored guidance and support, including really cool neurodivergent apps like Hiki and Feeld, these are dating apps, empower individuals to navigate relationships more effectively. Also on today's episode, Indigo shares a personal story of using their instincts to get away from a pretty uncomfortable situation. Let's explore the importance of embracing vulnerability and authenticity in finding love amidst the complexities of autism, right here on The Pulse. Dating and relationships are super complex terrain for anyone to navigate, but they can pose a particularly formidable challenge for autistic people because the interplay of communication difficulties and sensory sensitivities and emotional expression, those things can really create significant hurdles. Yeah, autistic people often encounter distinct challenges when engaging in romantic relationships. These can encompass difficulties in effectively communicating emotions, like talking about how you feel, navigating sensory sensitivities, like what do you do if you don't want to be touched, but you want to have, an intimate physical relationship, but you don't want to be touched. Like, how do you address that kind of thing? Interpreting social cues, and these things can lead to misunderstandings and frustration for both parties. Relationships can be difficult to navigate under the best conditions, but with the addition of a neurotype that presents with social and communication challenges, it can just add a whole other dynamic when it comes to learning to communicate as a couple or as a pairing. But there are some strengths that we bring to relationships, to all relationships, really. So, like, despite the challenges that we have, people, like autistic people, bring unique strengths to relationships. Notably, our candid communication style can provide great clarity, authenticity, and honesty into the dating world. So while expressing emotions might present challenges, autistic people often experience feelings intensely, and we're pretty straightforward about that. And that can add a depth to emotional connections. Like we're pretty honest about things, and that can throw people off too sometimes. But I have found in my experience anyway that they get used to it and start to really appreciate the presence of clarity in all communication. But this means that, we have to find someone who will be open to learning about us and our unique learning styles if we're the type of people that are looking for a relationship. Obviously, not everybody is. But so there are some major things to point out, and communication is always going to be one of them. Strategies such as asking direct questions to navigate emotional nuances can facilitate clearer understanding and foster meaningful connections. So, when you're dating somebody who's autistic, understanding, patience, and open mindedness are crucial attributes. And you have to recognize the individuality of each autistic person and be receptive to their preferences and communication style so that you can lay the foundation for a successful relationship. You will find that honesty is a natural mode for autistic people, and again, that's key in any relationship, unless it's hurtful, and then you got to talk about like tone, and there's other things to go into that. But general speaking, flirting tips and other forms of targeted support can empower autistic people to navigate complexities of romantic relationships more effectively. And these are everywhere to be found online. So, like, be discerning in your choices of where to look for advice. Influencers who are all about fancy cars and getting girls might not be the best place to seek advice on authenticity in relationships, right? Talking to trusted friends and people who you respect who have good relationships can be really, really helpful. Fear of rejection is another significant concern for many people, including autistic people. And overcoming this fear or getting used to the feeling of rejection requires resilience, perseverance, and a lot of self-compassion, acknowledging that it's a part of the dating process, and maintaining confidence in yourself is essential in moving forward. It can feel pretty awful to get turned down or worse, dumped when you're really interested in someone, but this is a natural thing that everyone experiences. Reflect on what worked and what didn't work and move on to find something else that makes you truly happy. I mean, breakups suck, but it happens, and rejection sucks, but it happens, and we deal with it all the time in many aspects of our life. And the best way to manage is just to allow those feelings to like do their thing. You might have stomach pain, sweating, lack of sleep, or crying. In my case, a lot of crying, restlessness, or even anger. As much as these feelings are not wanted, they're natural and necessary part of the process. So, rejection is going to come and it's going to suck, and you just got to get ready to face that and learn from it, because you're opening up space for somebody new, or better yet, for yourself. There's also some apps, and truth be told, I downloaded 2 apps today to check them out, and I was kind of psyched about both of them. And one of them, I'm like, I might actually keep that. They're both dating apps for neurodivergent folks, which I thought was just amazing. One of them has over 20 different gender identities, and like the questions in there are just, I don't know, I felt so seen, and I was like, wow, this is such a cool app. And it had way more people on there than I'd seen on other apps in my area. But apps like this they're just like classic dating apps, but they have different prompts and different questions so that you can really express yourself. They were designed for neurodivergent people of all genders and orientations, with questions like, what's your preferred stim? It can be challenging for us to navigate the classically neurotypical dating world, and not all of us want to. So apps like this are great, and they're also set up for building friendships and professional connections. Effective communication, understanding, patience, and self-compassion emerge as like crucial elements in navigating romantic connections, especially when neurodiversity comes into play. So like whether you're embarking on new romance, reflecting on past experiences, authenticity, self-awareness are key. So yeah, here's to embracing vulnerability, seeking support, and finding love in all its forms. Any thoughts?
Now I kind of want to know what those apps are.
Yeah, I want to know too.
Okay, so one of them is called Hiki, Hiki. I don't know if you want to write these down. And I really like that one. And the other one is called Feeld. It's Feeld.
I feel like I've heard of that one.
Yeah, I had heard of it too prior to doing the research for this. Yeah.
I can just say communication is hard.
Yeah.
I feel like I thought it would be easier than it was, just because I feel like in, shows or whatever, I see a romance or whatever, and people don't know what they're doing, and I'm like, this would be so much better if you just talk to each other. Like, why can't they just talk to each other? But then when I was in a relationship, I was like, oh, I actually can't do that. That's actually not going to work for me. I ended up I wasn't really able, and I think I just generally have a hard time if I am upset or whatever, like if it's hard for me to say whatever I want to say, it's just the words aren't really going to come out. So that kind of became a bit of an issue. I found ways around that worked for one relationship. It didn't work very well for the other relationship, but
yeah, and that's true too, right? Like it's going to be different with each person that you meet. Each pairing is going to be different, and so it's like getting a new job. You have to navigate a whole new situation, a whole new thing, a whole new mode of a person all over again. And meet their friends again and meet their family, and it's just like, oh my god, it's daunting. The idea of dating.
I never even really got to that point in any relationships. Well, okay, I did go on a second date once. We went to the Sunflower Festival. This is such a lesbian thing. Okay, so it was a whole day date. It was our second date. We went to the Sunflower Festival. We decided we were in a relationship together. We talked there at the Sunflower Festival. And then I met their family. I met their chosen family. And then I went to their house, or the house they were going to move into that had their chosen family in it, and I met all of their different farm animals. I got to hold a chicken, and there was this goat that really didn't like me. and then I got to hold a rat and a mouse, and then we went and found frogs together. Um, but
Yeah, that's pretty gay.
and then that was our last day. But good times still.
So I think that with the autistic people, whether it's like a relationship or a friendship, the order that you end up doing stuff in can be sort of all over the place. Like with holistic people, it's like, okay, like we meet, and then it's like there's just like a certain order, and it's like you wait until like a while until you like meet their parents or you like do other stuff. But with like autistic relationships and friendships, it's like, oh, you can be coming over to a sleepover at the house, but we haven't even been friends for a whole year yet. It's like all over the place.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like, I don't know, it can be, I feel like the communication issues I feel like are with, relationships with holistic people, for me have been more difficult with the communication because I'm just like, I don't really know what to do. And also, I will just, like, certain situations, I have flirted with people accidentally because I'm masking and I'm just matching their energy. And I ended up
Yes.
getting an invitation back to this person's place like that night, and I was like, wait a minute, what is happening?
There is one thing I've learned, that that flirting is something that is intentional, so technically you can't do it accidentally, but other people can interpret it as that, so it's complicated.
Yeah, it was like, because I was just like, I just thought I was matching your energy, like you were saying a thing and I was saying a thing that is a response to that, and then somehow we ended up there.
Also, that autistic people sometimes end up in situations accidentally that they don't want to be in, and then it's like,
Definitely.
how do I get out of this?
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, at least I like it, when I end up in situations I don't really want to be in, I don't usually have a problem leaving, and I'm just like, yep, nope, this is not it. And also with that person that had like invited me back to I was like, oh, I did not think this was what was happening, and then they blocked me. But yeah, I was like, I'm still down to be friend, but no, I guess I don't know why they blocked me. But that, I guess I can see that being embarrassing for them, but I don't know. There's a few reasons, I guess.
I'm glad. Yeah. Okay. But I'm glad you brought that up because you brought up that you're okay to leave a situation. That's really important, especially in like a date type situation, because many people don't feel comfortable leaving a situation or they don't know how to leave a situation and will stay or do things that they don't want to do, right? And so that's really, really good. Is that something that you've always been able to do, like to say no or to walk away from something that you're not happy with?
I think most of the time, I think there's probably been some exceptions throughout my life, but generally that's something I've done since I was very young. I think one of the most like obviously autistic things that I did when I was a kid that nobody, I guess, saw as an autistic thing was I would just walk away from conversations if I didn't feel like being there, or like walk away from a game people were playing, and I just didn't really think anyone would think anything of it. And I've like, I don't know, I've left a lot of things early. I've left like most kind of big overstimulating things I go to. It's like I want to go to the thing, but I'm going to be there for about an hour at most. Like, and I'm just pretty much fine to go. I left one situation. I ended up a few years ago, I was in this situation where I ended up getting pretty nervous because I knew one person and my friend had wanted me to have a sleepover with her, and we ended up like in these like alleyways in the middle of the night with all of her friends who were all pressuring me to do some things, and just like it was not a great time. And I ended up just like leaving. I didn't actually end up getting to talk to my friend about it because she had kind of ditched me and was just talking with her other friends, and I was just like standing around with a bunch of people who were making fun of me for not talking. But that, yeah, so I ended up just like going into this mall that was open. It was, I think, almost midnight, but there was a mall that was open, and I went into the bathroom stall and I just called my mom, like, I need you to pick me up because I'm just not going to deal with this. Like, this is not doing the sleepover.
No, well, good for you for recognizing that was like not going to be a great time. Like that's really important because consent is everything. We do have, I'm going to put a link in the description. We do have an episode that delves a little more deeply into consent within relationships. So I want to make sure that I put that in here too, because it's a good accompaniment to this episode, a little deeper than what we were talking about today. That does it for this week's episode of The Pulse. Join us next time when we discuss the top global inclusive employers. As always, if you have questions or ideas to discuss, or if you'd like to be a guest on the show, send an email to voa@pacificautismfamily.com. We look forward to more of your great questions. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. We'll see you next time.